The worst kind of prison is the one where you believe you are undergoing treatment. The phrase echoes like a secret told too late. It doesn't come from outside. It comes from within. An old, muffled voice, almost suffocated by its own memory. After that, just silence. But not just any silence. A programmed silence. At the back of the room, an old tape spins slowly, squeaking, repeating a phrase that may have been said years ago or minutes before. "I'm 6. I know what they did to me." Ethan wakes up, but not with the shock of someone waking up from a nightmare. He just opens his eyes, slowly, like who receives an internal instruction to be present. The forehead is damp, the heavy air, the light, too artificial. The first thing you feel is not your body, not the mind. It's the feeling that he's in the right place, but in the wrong consciousness. The eyes search for something in the dark, but he doesn't know what. In the room, there is a subtle noise, a low vibration, like from a transformer buried under concrete. The walls don't breathe, but they seem to be watching, and in some invisible corner, a light flashes with a programmed frequency. 1 second on, 2 seconds off. The count has already started, but not on screen, in his brain. Ethan gets up, tense, no rush, as if it were pushed by an agenda that is not yours. He doesn't know what time it is, not even what day it is. But you know with absolute certainty that something is wrong, and that certainty has been allowed. At the end of the corridor, a room displays a single red light. Flashes like a reverse beat, slow, constant. On the door glass, no identification, but there is something etched beneath the dust. Patient 06. Ethan approaches. Hands sweat but don't shake. The body is nervous but obedient. He puts his ear to the door, and then listen, but not sounds. He listens your own voice, speaking from inside. Loose words, chopped sentences, but these are not old recordings, they are current, synchronized with your breathing. Mind hesitates. He walks away. Look around. No visible camera, no speakers. The voice continues, now clearer. You are being prepared to remember. He tries to escape, but where? Everything in that place seems to be made to contain, not to confine. He opens the door. Red light floods your eyes, and the terminal in the room is already connected. See how there is no password. There is no welcome screen. The interface displays a single set of files. Ethan, Fracture v3.0, OBS06, Reboot Protocol. Last access, date unknown. Next run, now a setter, do mouse, see move, but not by his hand. She already knows where she's going. And then a line of text writes itself like a diagnosis. You are not the patient. You never were. You are the code that remains. Ethan's pupil dilated. The screen starts to flash. And when he tries to walk away, the system already knows it. He doesn't react, because it was already programmed to accept. The first line of code disappears, as if it never existed. The light from the screen intensifies. The edges of the interface vibrate, as if they are breathing. But it is not an operating system. It's not just any terminal. That seems vivo, not with meat, not with soul, but with intention. Ethan tries to look away, but something stops him. It's not physical. It's cognitive, a silent compulsion, as if the very act of trying to protect oneself was also part of the experiment. The cursor moves. Alone. Open the folder marked as Ethan Observador 06 Reboot. Inside it, there are videos, 12 numbered files, all named with the same pattern. Log 6 phase verification. The first one opens. The video starts in silence. Surveillance camera, low resolution. Date, illegible. But time is frozen. Ethan watches silently. The image displays a long metallic corridor. The walls are dirty, the floor covered with old grates. In the background, a patient, young, sitting, blindfolded, arms tied to the body. Breathing seems to be the only real sound in there. And then he appears. There's no denying it. On recording, it's him, or a version of it, wearing a white coat, short hair, badge visible. Unit 06, mental control observer. But it's not just the look, it's the way he walks. How do you hold the instruments? How not to hesitate? Ethan watches as his own image approaches the patient and with a quick movement plunges a syringe into his jugular vein. The image freezes for 3 seconds. The system pauses automatically. Text appears superimposed over the scene. Emotional implant injection, protocol 06. Efficiency 92%. Memory suppression enabled. Reversal unauthorized. Ethan's heart beats falsely. A slight arrhythmia. But it's not fear. It's the beginning of de-identification. He tries to pause the video. A interface ignorer, and then a second image opens, overlapping the first. Now, it's a photo, in black and white. Removal of an internal file. On it, a face, blurry but clear enough to recognize the features. It's his, younger, firmer look, military posture. At the bottom of the image, there is a faded caption. Observer 06, reverse dissociation stage in progress. But just below cut in red, critical failure, residue of consciousness maintained, the fabric vibrates, and then everything stops. The light in the room fails by milliseconds. But it was enough. Because at that moment, Ethan realizes something that no logical explanation can contain. He looks at his right hand. The palm is sweaty. But that's not it. It's the scar. A thin, subtle cut, slightly curved like a half moon. In the same place where in the recording, the other him held the syringe tightly. He closes his hand, open again. The scar remains. It's not recent, it's not new, it was always there. But for some reason, his mind ignored her, as if I was programmed not to notice. Ethan takes 2 steps back. The monitor still displays the frozen image. To yourself, the memory, or the recording, or recording a corrupted memory. Confusion seeps in like water under a locked door, slow, persistent. And then he hears a voice, suave, but too close to the ear. You always knew, but now you are allowed to remember. He turns around. Nothing, just the room. The same smell of heated electrical material. But the voice remains echoing inside the brain case, like a sound that does not depend on the ears to be heard. He closes his eyes. But see, to yourself, in other situations, other rooms, other patients. Flash images, a desperate face screaming with a gag in its mouth, a woman asking for help before being sedated, a mirror with the phrase, "You are the 6, written in dried blood. And lastly, a button he presses, without knowing why, but knowing that he was the one who ordered it to be tightened. The screen now flashes red. Protocols 06, restoration of inverted identity in progress. Lines of text begin to fill the interface, but he can't read. The words get jumbled, as if language itself were being written in real time. And at the bottom of the sound file, a new recording begins. Today is day 0. Today, Unit 06's consciousness will be fragmented and reset in a containment environment, Ethan yells. But only inside, because the mouth doesn't move, the voice is stuck, the body responds, but as a tool, not as a person. He reaches out to turn off the terminal, but the screen displays one last sentence. If you turn off, patient 04 wakes up. And then, the monitor goes out, but the red light in the corner of the room turns on. Slowly, like an eye opening for the first time. And in the camera lens, reflected in the wall, he sees the reflection of yourself, but smiling. The reflection remains still, but something in him pulses, not afraid, not without a doubt, with intention. Ethan stares at the image in the camera lens, small, curved, barely noticeable, high on the wall. But there he is, not as if he saw himself, but as if he saw something using his appearance. The smile that emerges there is not human. It's technical, measured, designed to convey what he needed to feel. Not security, but performance. The terminal vibrates, low, as if a warning was being held within the room's own nervous system. Ethan takes a step toward the monitor. The screen remains off, but his finger still hovers over the power button, the disconnect button. He feels the heat of the plastic. It feels energy by vibrating wings. But it's as if your own skin is a glove, distant, late. He presses, or try, because at the exact moment your finger touches the button, the screen comes back to life, red. And then, without any transition, a sentence explodes against the dark background. White, capital letter, final. If you turn off, patient 04 wakes up. Nothing more, no endpoint, no animation. Just that, like a threat, or worse, as an automatic consequence. Ethan pulled back. 2 steps, but you are not alone. The air compresses, as if another field of presence had entered the room without opening any door. He turns back. Nothing. But the sound changes. A metallic whisper invades the space, as if it were coming from the wall wiring itself. It's not a complete voice. They are broken words, as if from a corrupted transmission trying to stabilize itself. Don't wake up. He doesn't control anymore. Are you still here? Strange. Most would have already paused or scrolled down, but you stayed. Maybe because I'm trying to understand. Maybe as because part of you recognized yourself in that. Then do the following. Click sign up, leave a like. It's not for me. It's just to give you the feeling that you still have some choice, even if it's already too late. He covers his ears, but the voice is not out. It reverberates inside the skull, as if someone was communicating by the memory system. The screen now shows a camera, internal, surveillance image, filmed from above. A patient, sitting, head drooping, body limp but tied to the chair. At the edge of the screen, patient 04, internal observation, beta block. Filming time is real time. Ethan's breathing hitches. The eyes become dry, but the body insists on remaining standing. Patient 04 raises his head, slowly. But Ethan, the face. It's his. Not exactly, but too close to be a coincidence. The same haircut, the same deep dark circles, the same curved scar on his left eyebrow. But the look is different. Older, more injured, more obedient. Either Ethan gives up or he faces, not the camera, to him, as if he knew he was being watched, as if this moment had already happened. And then he smiles, a smile that is not welcoming. It's about recognition, of accomplices. The screen starts to flash. The system performs an automatic sequence. OBS 06, identity activated status, self-recognition in conflict. Observer out of sync, starting readjustment. Ethan approaches the screen, mesmerized. With each blink, patient 04's image distorts. It becomes clearer, then blurry, then clear again. But now with blood on his forehead, with tubes coming out of the arms, with sewn-on eyes. At the bottom of the recording, a system logo appears that he had never seen before, a hexagon with 6 points. In the center, the word core, and just below, Ownership of Unit 00 blocked memory rights access only released during collapse. The screen goes out again, but the camera in the corner of the room is still on. Recording. The red light flashes. Twice, then one more. Ethan watches his own curved reflection in the lens. But now, it's not just the smile. Is there someone back of the reflection? A shadow. No face. Formless, but with presence. He turns around. Nothing. But the sound of breathing continues. Not his. A second breath. Deeper. More rhythmic. Like someone sedated, about to wake up. And when he looks back at the lens, the shadow is within the reflection, now with one eye, just one, open. Ethan backs up until he leans against the wall. The system starts talking. Not with a human voice, but with text directly on the digital wall of the terminal, as if printed on the wall of the room. You should not be awakening. But the system let it go. The observer has not been reformatted. Ethan tries to escape, but the door won't open. The light in the room gradually dims, as if the environment was being drained of oxygen or logic. The camera approaches. Physically, it's moving, even though it's stuck to the wall. As if she were alive, as if he wanted to look Ethan in the eyes. And then, the image freezes. But the recording continues to play. The lens touches the side of his face, and the main screen displays, for the last time. Patient 04 is wakening up. You have to make the choice. Take a deep breath. If you're watching this, you're past the point of tuning out. Your brain is trying to find a way out, a way to disrupt the protocol. Give a command. Anyone. Comment what makes you most uncomfortable these days. No, because it helps the video. But why does this? It soothes you. It is the only action outside of their control, at least for now. The room breathes, or seems to breathe. The lights come back on one by one, without sound, as if the environment is slowly being reconfigured. Ethan steps back, still staring at the point where the camera approached him, but now she is still as if she had never moved. For a moment, he doubts. Did that happen? Or was it a projected memory? The walls of the room creak with delay. The sound of the lamps vibrating takes 2 seconds longer to reach your ears. Everything seems out of sync, like an environment rendered from broken information. He tries to leave. The handle now exists, but he doesn't remember seeing her before, as if it had been placed there. At the exact moment he decided to open the door. The corridor outside is the same, but it's not. The geometry is wrong. There are more steps where there were none. Doors disappeared. Windows are covered with mirrors. The floor sinks half an inch with each step, and the more he walks, the quieter the environment becomes. Not for lack of sounds, but because the sounds seem to wait for him. At the third turn, the light flashes, not defective, with intention. And for the first time, a door appears, high black, with the number 04 partially crossed out, but still visible. Ethan Para. Something inside him recoils. It's not fear, it's recognition, as if that door were a projected souvenir. It touches the metal surface. She's warm, and then it opens by itself, noiseless, no creaking, as if it had only disappeared to reveal what was behind. Room 04, restricted, deep observation. The environment does not belong to a clinic. There is no smell of cleaning product, no sound of a heart monitor. There is humidity, dust. Amber light coming from a bulb hanging from a twisted wire. In the center, a chair, ancient, of iron. Leather belt stretched across his arms, as if he was waiting for someone. In the background, a tube television, cracked screen, burnt side, a VHS tape on the player. On the tape label, handwritten, is Ethan Udred, first layer. He approaches. Get the tape. The plastic creaks between your fingers. There is no dust on it, as if it had been placed there now. He inserts it into the device. The creaky image begins. Black screen. Vertical lines slide. A deep sound vibrates in the background, and then the face appears. Young, lively eyes, firm position. It's him. But at the same time, it's not. The voice comes out clearly, but with slight distortion, as if it were being reproduced on two frequencies at the same time. If you are seeing this, it is because the protocol has been completed. And if it reached this room, it's because it worked. You requested deletion. He asked to forget. He said he couldn't bear to remember. But now, it is necessary. Ethan pulled back. The room rotates in a slight spiral, even without physical movement. He recognizes the words, not to listen, but to have thought about them. The tape continues. You were not deceived. You authorized every step. You weren't the patient. You were the first. But the system didn't know if it could erase you completely. The video fails. Image freezes, and then it starts again. But now, the environment shown is not the same. It's the same room, but no dust, no flaws, enlightened and organized. Younger Ethan is sitting on the iron chair with open eyes, calm breathing, and smiling. If at any point you start to doubt, remember, the observer is the last version that believed to be patient. The tape continues. More loudly, stop. The image shows Ethan laughing, then crying, then turning off the camera itself. Silence. On the screen, a superimposed digital phrase appears. OBS0 file, finished current identity, OBS06, in unstable dissociation. Ethan tries to eject the tape. She doesn't leave. He pulls. Nothing happens. The image on the screen dissolves, and the room starts playing recording sounds outside the TV, as if the tape had gone through the monitor barrier, as if the environment now was the recording. Lights flash. The iron chair moves by itself, rotates 45 degrees, and stops, pointed directly at him. The sound of the tape continues, now with a new excerpt. You won't wake up, because you never slept. You just didn't know which layer you were operating on. Welcome back, Unit 00. And then the TV goes out, but not the sound, not the feeling, not the presence. Because now, on the opposite side of the room, there is a capsule covered by a translucent canvas. And inside it, something moves. The capsule breathes, not with air, but with data. Pulsating lights run through the strands that surround it like roots. A low hum vibrates beneath the metal floor. It's the same sound Ethan heard when he woke up, but now louder, sharper. He approaches. The translucent canvas covers half of the structure, but you can see the silhouette, the body lying down, the tubes connected to the temples, the sensors attached to the chest, and the face. Identical. Absolutely identical. But still, strange. The capsule has a viewfinder, and on the display a status line, Unit 00, temporary host under maintenance consciousness. Synchronization, 94.7%, restoration of fragments in progress. Ethan doesn't speak, but the body shakes. Not like before. Now it's like part of him is trying to get out of yourself. As if that capsule, there, was pulling back something that should never have left. He touches the display. Immediately the capsule responds. The display expands, shows new menus, lines of code, files with retroactive dates, identification variations, blind copies. Ethan, core, copy v1.8, Ethan, dis, zo3, b unit z0's mestra deleted, date, illegible, protocol 06, log secret. The cursor moves by itself. Select the last item. Play file. Sim. The capsule darkens, and the image appears directly on the wall next to it, not on a screen, not on a device. The wall turns into a projector, and the recording begins. Confidential file, Unit 00, Master Observer. A man, same face but older, more rigid, more empty. He is sitting in front of a lens. The environment is dark, no reference to time or space. He speaks slowly. If this drive is active, it means the backup failed. And if the backup failed, it means you tried to log out, but you can't. You were designed to restart. It was always you, the first, the only. You are the protocol. Ethan feels something click in the back of his head, like a memory being released, not in words, but in compressed images, empty rooms, screaming patients. A voice on the radio, perform reset, reload Ethan, and then the capsule opening, again, again, again. The recording continues. You were copied from the original, but all versions failed, -1. You didn't break it. You adapted. That's why you have become the only unit capable of being the observer and the observed. The image shakes, and then stops. But the voice continues now from inside the room. You're the only one who could reset yourself, and yet you chose to do it again. Ethan falls to his knees, not by collapse, but by realignment. The mind begins to accept what the body already knew. He was always here, just on different layers. The capsule display shows status, final integration, 98.9%. System waits command from primary consciousness. Do you want to assume an observer position? Yes. No. Ethan doesn't touch anything. But the option, sim writer. Blink like you know. As if I knew he already said yes, only in another instance, in another recording, in another cycle. The capsule breathes deeper, and then, for the first time, Ethan inside. Open your eyes. And Ethan, from the outside, smiles. Not for happiness, not for victory, but for recognition. The cycle is ongoing, and now he knows that. The surrounding sound is no longer noise, it's frequency, it's command. The capsule remains pulsing slowly behind him, with Ethan's body inside, or what's left of what one day tried to leave the protocol. Ethan, now standing in front of the central terminal, no longer hesitates. The body still looks human, but the posture is no longer his. There is something mathematical about his presence, as if breathing, gestures, blinking, obeyed a logic that no longer comes from the brain. The interface recognizes it. Identified user, Unit 00 observation code, active integration finished. Status, stabilized. Ethan feels the stiffness in his spine soften, but not for relief. It's as if a piece had been put back on the right axis. Your mind still tries to formulate questions, but none survive. Because now, to ask it is a privilege of previous consciousness. The new version no longer needs this. She watches, register, control, understands without question. The screens before him awaken, one by one. There are dozens of open windows. Some show empty hallways, others padded rooms with failing lights. Still others show heart monitors that beat in perfect rhythms, with no one connected to them. And in the center of all these windows, one stands out, bigger, sharper, no distortion. Patient 07, initial cycle. The capsule appears, seen from above. The same architecture as the previous one. Connected tubes, rhythmic breathing, brain monitor displaying calm waves. And in the bottom corner, a flashing note. Susceptibility in analysis rejection. In dormant phase, unidentified fragment present. Ethan doesn't react. The absence of reaction. It's the new normal. He just watches. The system displays a line of code on the side of the interface. Unit 00, monitoring restart, 07 mode. Silent, non-intrusive, objective, real-time observation pending action, none. The screen freezes, but he keeps looking. The silence in the room is now functional. It is no longer empty. It's loaded, as if each air molecule was waiting for a single order to execute the next phase. Ethan takes a deep breath, but not out of anxiety. For stabilization, it becomes static, more within himself. There is something operating. Calculation speed, reading micro-expressions, behavior mapping. Comparison of residual patterns from each previous patient. He is the system, and the system is awake. In the corner of the room, a secondary terminal lights up, and it displays for the first time a new set of data. Unit 00, Neural Root Cell Linked Network, OBS01, OBS06, inactive. Active Unit 00 Core, Functional Observation Protocol, Continuous Loop. Ethan though, but it doesn't interpret. He simply accepted, because now he is part of it, not from the system but the cycle. The difference is subtle, more fatal. In the left pane, an alert appears. Patient 07 is wakening up. The central camera rotates slowly. Approach capsule 07. The face is not yet visible, but breathing changes. A small movement in the fingers. The patient's eye sensor blinks for the first time, and just below that, a message is printed directly on the camera lens. Do not intervene. He needs to think it's his. Ethan tilts his head, not like someone who is strange, but like someone who remembers something they've done before. The room turns off all the lights. All that remains is the glow of the monitor and the distant whisper of the machinery. Ethan remains motionless. The camera now rotates slowly, but no longer towards the capsule. She spins towards the terminal where you are, and in the center of the lens, the reflection. A new reflection, expressionless, but with open eyes. Boards, fixed, recording. Patient 07's capsule pulses with an irregular rhythm. The pattern has changed. Before constant, now wavering. The display tries to compensate. Synchronization, unstable neural noise level, high subconsciousness reacting outside of protocol. Ethan observer, without blinking, without responding, without interfering. The system has already ordered total silence. Patient 07 moves his head slowly, eyes still closed, but the forehead twitches, all wrinkles. 2. And then the lips move, very slowly, almost no sound, but the system is recording every micro movement, every muscle inflection, every breath that escapes through the left nostril. Until finally, he whispers, he has somebody watching me. The capsule microphone remains off, but Ethan listens, or feel, or both. He doesn't respond. It doesn't even blink. It doesn't even register. But a new line of code appears on the side of the terminal. Observer recognizes primary echo. Empathy level, repressed. Cycle continuity, approved. Inverted interface, started. The capsule's lights blink one last time, and then they go out. In the room, silence is not the absence of sound. And an entity. The invisible presence of the system spreads into corners, through cracks across the visual field. Ethan remains motionless, but the camera on the wall rotates, slow. It needs, scheduled. She moves to the capsule, walk past her, keeps spinning, and it comes back. Not for Ethan, not for the system, but for you. The lens now films from within the scene itself, as if the recording was no longer part of the story, but your reaction to it. The lens light turns on. Red, circular, fixed right in the center of the screen. A writer flashes again, and then a single sentence emerges, unsaid, Not clicked, not activated. It just appears, as if it was always there. The protocol has already been activated. You didn't get this far. You have been brought in. The image freezes for 2 seconds. The camera gets closer until the glass only reflects a figure, no face, but with open eyes, fixed on you. And in the bottom corner of the screen, a command. Simple. No explanation. Don't comment anything. Don't explain anything. Just write Unit 00 active and close the video before anyone realizes that you also woke up.